Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. So, today I want to talk to you all about perseverance and just give you an illustration of what it means to persevere. I know many of you, you're waiting on God, and as myself, we know that God has given us a promise or, promises, and we're waiting for them to come to fruition. And what it takes is perseverance. We need to persevere. So I want to just give you a little illustration about something that happened to me recently. So I went to the mall with my daughter, and we were shopping, and I saw this item that I'd been looking for some time. And when I went to get that item, turns out that they didn't have one in my size. And so I went up to the counter and I spoke to the customer service there, and they said that I should check online. So when I got home, I checked online, and they had one left in my size at a mall that was about 45 minutes, an hour drive away from where I live. And so I frequent, that area very often. But at any rate, so I decided to call them. And so I called and called and called, and I couldn't get through. And no one would answer. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to go there. And so I was in the area one day, and I had my grandson. And so I popped into the store in the mall, and it was very crowded. And I looked around and around and around, and I could not find the item. And there was a huge lineup, and I had my grandson. He's 19 months old, and so I wasn't about to wait in line. And so I left. And I checked online, and the item was still there, and it was the one left, and it was in my size. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to continue to call. And I continued to call, and I couldn't get through. And so at any rate, this past Monday, it's a holiday here in Canada. And my husband had to drop his car off. And so he asked me to follow behind him. And so it was close to that mall. And the mall was open on this holiday Monday. And so I told my husband that I wanted to pop by and see if I could get that item. And so on our way there, it started to rain like crazy. And I mean like cats and dog raining. It rained and rained, and I couldn't even see out my windshield. I had the wipers on full max. And so I called my husband, and I said, because we were on the 401, we were on the highway. And I said, I cannot see out my car. I said, we've got to get off. I can't even see you ahead of me, right? And so he said, okay, he was going to put his four-way flashers on, and whatever they're called. And so he put them on, and I could see him, and he got off at the next exit. And when he got off, he went to a side street and parked, and then it was coming down so hard. It was like a hurricane. And I heard that, close by that there were actual tornadoes and stuff that was occurring during that time. And so at any rate, my husband called, and he said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, let's just go and drop your car off. I don't want to continue to the mall. I said that, in fact, I think that it's closed because it was almost 6 o'clock. And I said that I think it closes about 6 o'clock. And he said, no, he believes that it closes at 7. And so he checked online, and it closed at 7. And he goes, well, we're almost there. Why don't we just continue on? And I go, well, I can't see out out my window. And so he said, just follow behind me. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go. Like, let's just forget about it. And I don't even know if they're going to have it anyways. And he goes, well, you checked online, so let's just go. And so I said, okay. So I followed behind him, and we got to the mall, and we went in. And I looked around and around, and I didn't see the item. And so I was like, what's the chances? Because like I said, it was the last one, right? And so I asked the gentleman that was in the fitting area, and he was steaming the clothes there. And I described the item to him, and he said, no, he hasn't seen any like that. And I was like, he goes, have you checked online? I said, in fact, I have. And they said that there's one here in my size. And so at any rate, he said, a young lady popped by right at that time. And so he said, let's say her name's Mary. And he said, Mary, have you seen such and such an item, blah, 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 blah. And she said, no, I haven't. Have you checked online? And he goes, yeah, we're just checking online. And so she took out her phone and she started to check. And the app on the phone is completely different from like the app when you're on an actual computer, right? And so at any rate, we checked and we couldn't find it. And then at the last minute, I saw like one of the models and she's kind of lying down and you could see her top, but you couldn't see her bottom. And I clicked on it and it so happened that the item, she had that item on. And so the girl saw the item. And so then she said she got she checked in her portable computer there and it said, yeah, well, we've got one there. And then so she said, okay, she'll go check. And I was like, oh yeah, I was so excited. And she goes, don't get excited yet. I don't know. Right. And so at any rate, she went and she checked and she came back and she goes, it's your lucky day. And she had the item and I was so excited. And so, we paid for it and we laughed. And it just got me thinking that, that in life, we've got to persevere. God has made us promises and that God is not a man. He cannot lie. And so if God told you that he was going to do something, he is going to do it. And so we have to persevere through the storms and through the, the negativity and through the, even when I entered the store, it looked like there was no sign of the item, right? And that's how it is. Like when you have a promise that God has given you, even when you can't see it, God is working things out for your good. And you've just got to persevere and believe and trust that God, like I said, he's not a man. He cannot lie. He's going to bring forth that promise. And we just have to wait upon him. And the scriptures say to wait upon the Lord, because he shall renew our strength if we faint not. And in Galatians 6:9, it says, if we're not weary in well doing, that we will reap the reward in due season, right? And so we've got to persevere and fight that good fight of faith and believe God, and everything's going to work out for the good, right? And so that's just a lesson that I learned recently in terms of perseverance. And I know that, this is the season that God is going to show up and it'll be right on time. And it's going to work out just perfectly, okay? So I hope this is an encouragement to you all. Persevere. God's going to come through for you, all right? Thanks so much for watching. Remember, as always, to keep your sights on the things that are eternal, for it's in the eternal things that we can move beyond the walls.